Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Heisman Talk, your number one source of college football news on YouTube. I'm Nate Dogg here with my co-host Devonair D. Jackson to break down Week 8 of our Game Day Pick'ems. D, good to have you back. Yesterday we talked about our Heismans of the week. Today we move on to quite a list of games. Most people would venture to say, oh, well, Georgia's got a bye week. Ohio State's got a bye week. Not many big schools playing. Not really going to pay attention to college football. But, dude, we've got a great list of games. So, with that being said, before that being said, let me let everyone know what our records are currently because I forgot last week. D, you're currently 25-19, and I took a 2-game lead after this weekend. Thank you, Ole Miss. And I am now 27-17. So D, we're doing pretty good. We're right up there with each other. Anything could happen on any given Saturday. So D, with that being said, let's jump right into it. Our first game of the week is going to be number 16 Wake Forest goes on the road to Army. This is a 12 o'clock kickoff on CBSSN. Wake Forest currently favored by 3 points. Indeed, might I mention, this is the first time that Wake Forest is 6-0, and the first time since 1944, since World War II, D. So with that being said, who do you have winning this game?
Yeah, Nate. In this game, I think, Wake Forest is a good offensive team. They're playing against, the triple option, really for the first time. So it's a tough pick, but I'm picking Wake Forest, man. I'm picking Wake Forest because of quarterback Sam Hartman. I think that they'll be able to put up enough points and get enough stops to win. So give me Wake Forest.
Gee, that's a great pick. Army is 4-2, which is a great record for them. They're coming off of a two-game losing streak right now. And one thing that I found not interesting, but interesting, is that the Army quarterback leads the team in passing and rushing yards. And when that's the case, all Wake Forest needs to do is shut down Christian Anderson. And they pretty much had this game in the books. Also, I'd like to mention, D, that the Wake Forest kicker by the name of Nick Skiba is 100%, both on extra points and field goals. 24 of 24 on extra points, 12 of 12 on field goals made. Listen to this one, 4 of 4 from 40 to 49 yards. And, D, when you got a kicker that's that accurate, there's no way you lose this game. Give me the Demon Deacons by a field goal. I think special teams plays a huge role in this game, and I think Nick is going to come up with a big kick in this game. No doubt about it. So, D, moving right along, we head to the SEC where the LSU Tigers go on the road to Oxford, Mississippi to take on the controversial number 12 Ole Miss Rebels. D, it's always entertainment with Lane Kiffin when he's in the game. This is a 3:30 kickoff on CBS. Ole Miss currently favored by 9 points. D, who wins this game?
Ole Miss coming off of a pretty decent win, going into Tennessee and beating Tennessee. LSU also coming off of a really big win, beating Florida. I'm gonna, my question is, can LSU's defense, get stops on the road? I don't think so. I'm gonna go with Matt Corral and Ole Miss to, pretty much beat LSU pretty good this weekend. So give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, D, this is one of those games that probably has the most question marks out of any game that we've seen this season for multiple reasons, right? Biggest one being, is Matt Corral going to be healthy? We don't know the status of his knee injury. We know he went down late in the game last week after winning. This dude put up 200 yards passing and almost 200 yards rushing. So if his injury is lingering and he's not able to, make those shifty moves inside and outside of the pocket, that's going to play a huge role in that Rebels offense. But, Coach O came out and said that, quote, Lane Kiffin is smoke screening right now with Matt Corral's injury. So he might be playing a little bit of mind games with Tigers. And with Coach O being said, that's another question I have is, how is the team going to respond to the news of Coach O resigning at the end of the year? Sure, they might come out and play their hardest. They're coming off of a huge win against Florida, no doubt. But if Matt Corral is, in fact, at least 75% healthy, I think Ole Miss runs away with this one. Give me Ole Miss in a tight game. I think they win by a shoelace.
Wow.
So then we move to an ACC matchup where the Clemson Tigers hit the road to go play the number 23 Pittsburgh Panthers at Heinz Field. This is a 3:30 kickoff on ESPN. Pittsburgh, ranked and favorited in this game, D, by 3 points. And who would have ever thought that Pittsburgh would be the team in this matchup that's the favorite and the only one ranked? D, who wins this ACC matchup?
Yeah, man, that is crazy to even say. Like, Pittsburgh is favored in this game. Like you said, nobody would have thought that, man. It's gonna be the thing about it is, DJU, he hasn't been playing very well, but their defense has been playing well. We know that DJU is a talented quarterback, but he just has not shown it this year. Last year he, had some spurts to where you could see his talent. This year he hasn't showed it. So for that reason, give me Pitt, man. Pitt, I think that they're the better offensive team. Obviously, they have the better quarterback. So give me the favorite team. Give me Pitt.
Yeah, D. Pittsburgh currently given a 63% chance to win, according to ESPN.com, which is huge. Kenny Pickett has had an incredible year for the Panthers thus far. On the other side, DJU has struggled tremendously. 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the season, which is so shocking in an offensive system at Clemson to hear such low numbers. Another thing is Clemson's been plagued heavily with injuries on both sides of the ball. Running back, D-line, O-line, you name it. They've got them everywhere. Give me Pittsburgh Panthers to cover the spread on this one. I think they win big. So, D, moving right along, we head to the Big 12, where the number 8 Oklahoma State Cowboys go on the road to play the Iowa State Cyclones. This is a 3:30 kickoff on Fox. Iowa State shockingly favored in this one by 7 points. The Cyclones are looking to get back on the national radar after a devastating loss to Iowa earlier in the season. D, who wins this Big 12 shootout?
Yeah, man. It's kind of crazy that Iowa State's favored in this game. Oklahoma State has been playing so well. The big key here is, can Brock Purdy play out of his mind? Brock Purdy, he came into the year, he was expected to be this, really, really good quarterback, and he hasn't shown it, and if he can play above what he's shown statistically this year, then, they could possibly win. I don't see it. I see Oklahoma State's defense is being locked down, man. They're a tough defense once they get settled in. They can stop the run. They can stop Breece Hall from running the football. So give me Oklahoma State in this game. And also, another shout out to our Heisman of the week, one of the Heisman of the week, Jalen Warren. He's going to have a good game against Iowa State too.
Yeah, D, you mentioned, can Brock Purdy get back on track? Can he show that he's a great quarterback? But I have to disagree, D. I think this game comes down to the running backs. I think if you were to headline this game, and I know this is surprising for a Big 12 matchup because usually when you talk Big 12, you talk about 400 or 500 yards passing on both sides, right, with a 52-48 finish. But, D, I think if you were to headline this game, it's going to be Jalen Warren versus Breece Hall. Which run game gets more going? Which O-line gets the more push on that D-line? And what we've seen thus far is the Cowboys have dominated on defense, and they've dominated in the run game. I don't see this one being close, D. I don't understand how Iowa State's favored. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to take the Cowboys to cover the spread in this one. I think they win big, and I think they continue their track to the Big 12 championship game. And like you said, shout out to Jalen Warren because he's going to need a big game for this Cowboys team to win. So then we head out west to a classic Mountain West matchup. And the Mountain West Conference has been such an intriguing conference this year. I mean, you've got 4 or 5 teams undefeated in the conference, and then you look at their overall records, and they've only lost anywhere from 0 to 2 games. So with that being said, this matchup where the Nevada Wolfpack go on the road to take on the Fresno State Bulldogs. This is a 7 o'clock kickoff on Fox Sports 2. Fresno State currently favored by 3. Who wins this one?
Man, once again, I'm picking Fresno State, man. Jake Haener is just a really good quarterback, and I think he's going to lift them over the top, man. He's third in passing yards in the entire nation, and I just think that he's going to be too much. He's going to throw the ball really, really well, and I think Fresno State is going to knock off a good Nevada team.
Indeed, this is a key matchup for both teams as this really could decide the West Division in that Mountain West Conference. Both teams hungry for a win. Fresno State comes into this game 5-2 overall, 2-1 in the Mountain West. Nevada enters 5-1, 2-0 in the Mountain West, so obviously they've got the edge. But Fresno State given a 69.4% chance to win, and like you mentioned, Jake Haener has had a tremendous year with 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Carson Strong on the other side of the ball for Nevada, not so bad himself, 16 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So, both quarterbacks are really going to come out slinging that ball in this game. This is going to be a great matchup. I want to mention, too, you wonder if Fresno State's going to be looking too far ahead into next week against a ranked San Diego State, where they have to go on the road to San Diego State. That's going to be a tough matchup for them. Nevada has had trouble in the run game, but they thrive in the passing game, 363 yards. But Fresno State's defense has really been strong, only allowing 183 yards passing per game. Give me the Bulldogs in a close one, D. I think Fresno State gets it done, and next week's going to be a great matchup versus San Diego State, regardless of the outcome of this game. But give me the Bulldogs. I think they get it done at home. So
yeah, man, a lot of respect to the Mountain West. Sorry.
No, absolutely. You're good. So moving right along to another Mountain West showdown. This seems to be the week of the Mountain West. Number 22, San Diego State, goes on the road to play a tough triple option Air Force team that's currently 6-1, 3-1 in the Mountain West. This is a 7:30 kickoff on CBS SN. Air Force currently favored by 3.5. Who wins this one?
Man, like you said, it's a tough one, man. Tough one to pick. I flip back and forth trying to pick this game. San Diego State's defense is stout, man. They only give up 61 rush yards per game. But Air Force rushes for 336 rush yards per game. So it's like, which one's going to give, very, very tough. The quarterback for San Diego State, Jordan Brookshire, he hasn't been playing too well. He hasn't had a very good season. So for that, and, I think Air Force is going to, cause him to turn over the football, kind of like they did against Boise State. So for that, I'm going to take Air Force in this game.
Ooh. Not so fast, D. Let me tell you what, Air Force has given a 54.9% chance to win, slight edge over San Diego State, according to ESPN.com. Both rush defenses, as you mentioned, have been tremendous so far this season. And although, the Aztecs quarterback has had some trouble, Air Force is really going to have to throw the ball in this game. They're really going to have to rely on that play action. And because of that, D, I just don't think they have enough playmakers on the outside. They're so run heavy. I'm going to take the Aztecs in an upset here, quote unquote upset, even though they're ranked. They're not favored. But yeah, give me San Diego State. I think it sets up next week, like I mentioned, San Diego State versus Fresno State. That's going to be a huge matchup if both of these teams come out on top. But for this weekend, D, for this Saturday, I'm taking the Aztecs of San Diego State.
Interesting, man. Interesting.
So we head out further west to Utah, to Oregon, where the Utah Utes come into town to play the Oregon State Beavers. This is the first time that we've really mentioned these two teams on our show this season. This is a 7:30 kickoff on Pac-12 Network. Utah currently favored by 3.5, but let me tell you what, both of these teams come into this game 4-2, hungry for a win in hopes of continuing their path to the Pac-12 championship game. Who wins this close one?
Yeah, man. 2 4-2 teams. The road team favorite, like you said, man. Another tough game to pick, But I'm gonna pick Utah, man. Oregon State, they have a good offensive team. Their defense hasn't looked that great this year. And Cameron Rising has Utah's offense, quarterback for Utah, Cameron Rising. He has their offense playing pretty well these last few games, including the last week's win against Arizona State. That's why I'm going to go with Utah. I think their defense is pretty tough, and I think that they'll be able to hold that Oregon State offense. And so give me Utah to win this game.
Yeah, that's a great pick. You talk about Cameron Rising stepping up to the place and really shining for this Utah Utes team as, the departure of Charlie Brewer a few weeks ago. Utah given a 54.3% chance to win this, according to ESPN.com. The biggest factor for me is the fact that not necessarily Utah's defense, but the lack of Oregon State's passing defense, as they've allowed an average of 276 yards through the air every single game. And when you got a quarterback like Cameron Rising, he's licking his chops right now. He's ready to go. I think he's going to have a big game because right now they're averaging 226 yards in the air on offense. But a key defensive mention for the Utah Utes is linebacker Devin Lloyd. Look out for him. He's had 3 interceptions thus far, and he also leads the team in tackling. I think he's going to have a huge night. Give me the Utah Utes to rally together again and come out on the road with this win. So, then we head to our game of the week. You're there at the Rose Bowl. Not the most intriguing matchup when you look at it on paper, but when you really get down into the nitty-gritty, this could be one of the best games that we've seen all year. And on top of that, this is a primetime game for the Pac-12 to really showcase their skills and abilities for a potential playoff run here in the future. The number 10 Oregon Ducks head on the road to go on to play the UCLA Bruins. This is a 3:30 kickoff on ABC. UCLA favored in this game by 2 points. This is a must-win game for both of these teams, and it's going to be a great matchup. But who do you have winning this game?
Yeah, man, I'm here at the Rose Bowl. This beautiful California sunshine. But man, this game I think is really going to come down to, can UCLA get stops? I think Oregon has a really good team. They're ranked number 10. I don't think they've been playing like it all year. They've kind of been, hit with the injury bug. Anthony Brown hasn't really done. He hasn't really been the quarterback that they hope for. I think. I think UCLA's offense is really explosive, and for that reason, I'm going to take UCLA in this game, man. I know the spread keeps moving. I think it started out at 1.5, went to 2.5, and now it's at 2. But definitely give me UCLA in this game. I think they're going to come out and score a lot of touchdowns. It's going to be a high-scoring game, man. Give me UCLA.
As you mentioned, Anthony Brown has not played that great. He's been playing kind of poorly against some mediocre teams in the Pac-12, like Arizona Cal and Stanford. But like I mentioned, this is a must-win game for both of these teams. On one side, you got an Oregon team who's hoping to keep their playoff chances alive, and every win counts at this point. They may have a slight chance to get in, but if they lose this game, there is no chance whatsoever. On the other side, UCLA, would most likely jump back into the top 25 and become 6-2 overall. D, for Oregon to win this game, first of all, they're given a 53% chance to win, which is shocking considering that UCLA favored by 2, which is quite interesting. But D, I think if Oregon's going to win this game, they're going to have to replace Anthony Brown. They're going to have to bring in Ty Thompson. I truly believe if they play Anthony Brown, they will not get this done. Dorian Thompson, like you said, Dorian Thompson-Robinson has had a tremendous year. Over almost 1,500 yards passing, just shy, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I think I'm in agreement with you. I think he's going to have a huge day for the Bruins. Give me UCLA to upset the Ducks at home in the Rose Bowl. So, D, with that being said, that's a wrap for today's episode. When we come back next week, we're going to break down our Week 8 of our Heismans of the week, and we're going to move forward to probably one of the best weeks of college football we've had in years. And Week 9 game day pick'ems. Trust me, you will not want to miss out. So make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe down below to become part of the Heisman Talk family. Share it with your friends. And make sure that bell notification is turned on so you can stay up to date when we post our latest videos. College football is alive and well, and it's here to stay. As always, this is Nate Dogg and D signing off.